So, just how big of a dick is Lex Luthor? Well, you'll see. The episode begins as a lot of these do, the Justice League fighting with Lex. Escaping from the League, Luthor goes to the one place he feels safe, his old office, with his company now being run by Mercy, his old assistant. Mercy treats Luthor with disdain until he threatens her, getting information on an old employee who Mercy had let go, Professor Ivo. Luthor is able to make his way there, finding both Ivo's corpse and an android who seems fairly childlike, whilst Batman and Superman talk to Mercy about Luthor, who simply lies to them.
He hasn't already contacted you, has he?
Don't you think I would have told you?
The two of you were very close.
I'm a different person now.
Right.
Luthor manipulates the android known as Amazo into doing his bidding, and if he should happen to, fight the Justice League, which he does, coming up rather quickly against Hawkgirl.
Hold it, big boy. Now what did you want this for?
Though of course Amazo is not without a few tricks of his own. Winning the fight against Hawkgirl, Luthor sees the potential for his ultimate victory and sets the robot out to hunt down the rest of the League. Meanwhile, Jean, having attempted to mentally scan every person in Metropolis to find Luthor, is having a rather adverse reaction to it.
Know that, I just know. 20 shows a day and I still can't get rid of it.
Bald? How could anyone say I'm bald? You have a high bar at it. I should ask her out. What did she want with me? I should try though.
Rock kids, they don't appreciate it.
I just need a roof over my head, that's all. And a drink.
As apparently no one thought to keep an eye on John during this, and just let him wander around, dazed and confused. Good job there, guys. The League ends up taking on Amazo, which of course doesn't go well as he just keeps copying them, until Superman steps in despite the warnings of the others. While Superman is able to avoid being scanned briefly, Amazo does finally copy his powers, becoming even more dangerous. Batman steps in, which Amazo just disregards, but soon regrets it when Batman presents his trump card.
You don't have any powers.
I have this. It's a package deal. You get our strengths, but you also get our weaknesses.
Amazo flees and goes to try and find Luthor, who has evacuated Ivo's house and gone to an old LexCorp warehouse, which Amazo finds and begins to question Luthor over his motives.
You have your own life to live now. I've done all I can for you. Go. Be happy. Go.
I'll do it for you. I'll do it.
With Amazo pacified, Mercy warns Luthor against his current plan. But if Amazo gets out of hand, Luthor has a kill switch just in case. Jean has ended up in the woods to try and calm all the voices that are in his head, especially the ones which show the worst of humanity, and ends up coming across a search party for a lost little girl.
I'm freezing my butt off, and I don't even know the kid. But I know how I'd feel if she was my little girl. Hey, wait up!
I'll stay up all night if I have to.
I don't care what it takes.
I wish it were me instead of her.
Only 6 years old.
Jean helps to find the girl and is found by Wonder Woman, being brought to the rest of the Justice League. With Luthor having repaired his suit and Amazo now able to overcome the kryptonite weakness, the League begins to fall, but Jean has one more trick up his sleeve. Or, I guess, behind his cape, given his outfit.
Nothing can stop you now. You have all their powers. Use them well.
So you lied to me.
What?
Luthor attempts to destroy Amazo, but it fails, and he in return destroys Luthor's suit. Deciding there is nothing left to him, Amazo flies off to explore the universe, and then to return during Justice League Unlimited's run. With Luthor back in jail and everything back to normal, the episode ends. This episode has a nice dichotomy between the two mindsets of humanity. Those who are only thinking about themselves and how to get what they want, and those who will do whatever they can to help others. It does a great deal in representing those sides and how these mindsets can be put to use for either the greater good or for greater evil. However, as good as the message is in the episode, it suffers from some severe missteps in presentation. Like Jean's huge psychic search of the city. Why did he start in a hugely populated area? Why wasn't anyone keeping an eye on him when even during the episode he said how dangerous it might be? It seems like for a group who's meant to have each other's backs, they kinda let Jean down there. And similarly, how did Amazo have such a great and quick control over the telepathy? He might have been fine understanding the inner workings of things, but it does seem like this should have been even momentarily overwhelming. It does seem like more focus could have been given to Amazo himself, as the mindset of his character is mostly a blank slate, but begins to show signs of wanting to be more as the episode goes on. Like when he finds Luthor at the warehouse, there's no obvious reason for him to be questioning things, but if we'd been shown what was making him question Luthor, it would have shown a more human side to a being who seemed pretty human in the first place. Really, I'm not too sure why Mercy is in this episode. She seems more like the needed moment of the dissenting voice, there to say I told you so when everything goes wrong. The episode could have just begun from Luthor hiding at Ivo's home after an unsuccessful fight with the League and stumbling onto Amazo like he does, instead of having his discussion with Mercy and then continuing on. As even the Lex Corp warehouse could have been something he just had that wasn't on his normal books, as it is Lex after all. Whilst the episode gets its characters right, the plot feels like the weaker side of this episode, making it a little unbalanced overall. So maybe they should try a state of tabula rasa itself, and try again. So it won't be here at number 18. Hey people, and thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the next one of these a full day before anybody else, you can do that by supporting me on my Patreon page. However, if you're watching this on my Patreon page, then thanks for your support.